What is up, guys? IWrocker here, back again with another fun video today. We are ranking all the current generations, modern generations, of the Dodge Ram pickup truck. So this should be pretty fun. We're going to go with the 5 generations since 1981 when the Ram name officially started. Obviously, Dodge trucks were around before this, but known as the D Series and W Series specifically. So this is the 1st through 5th gen, 1981 to present, and let's get right into it. Rams are probably my favorite trucks of all time. Okay, so jumping over to the computer here, I'm going to show each generation and go over kind of just a brief summary of the engines, the transmissions, just the drivetrain, and how they looked, and we'll have some more images over here. And we'll just talk a little bit about each truck, and we will see which ones are ranked the best. So we'll go in numerical order. We'll start with the 1st gen. So the 1st gen was the Ram D Series turned into the Dodge Ram, and Dodge D Series, I should say, turned into the Dodge Ram. And these were from 1981 to 1993. This generation's awesome. These are square body trucks. As I'm sure you've heard the term square body, these are old and square body, and they're beautiful. They're awesome trucks. Honestly, out of all the square body, GMs, Fords, and Dodges, I really do think the Dodges look the best. These are just incredible looking trucks. They're elegant and tough looking at the same time. They had the awesome Ram hood emblem, as you can see here. Look at these trucks are just pretty awesome, I have to say. So you can see one lightly modified there, lifted with some newer wheels. It still looks good in my opinion. But obviously a stock looking one like this, I love these. They're just so cool. Look at that truck. I mean, these things are just so macho. They're so sleek. They're just awesome. And I love this classic look, just the smoothie wheels, dual colors with the awesome Ram emblem there. These trucks are awesome. I came really close to buying one of these about a month ago, and I missed out by one day. Someone else bought it. I really want one, really bad. These trucks had the Slant 6, which I would totally take in a heartbeat. I'm a V8 guy through and through. But as you can see, the Slant 6 was an awesome engine. It's famous for being one of the most bulletproof motors of all time, and was around forever. So these were good engines even in the trucks. And obviously in the late 80s, I believe 88, they went to fuel injection, got rid of the carburetors, and they unfortunately got rid of the Slant 6, came out with the 3.9 V6. Not a big fan of that, but the V8s are good. The 318 and the 360 were both very good. The 318 was also very amazing engine over time, very cheap to maintain, and very reliable. And they had the old TorqueFlite automatics back then, 3 or 4 speeds, and of course manual transmissions as well. These trucks are just awesome. There's some more custom ones right there. You just can't argue with these trucks. Very late in this run, they did offer the Cummins in 89 through 93. Okay, so moving on to the 2nd generation. The 2nd generation Ram is awesome. This truck was arguably iconic. One of the most iconic trucks in the modern era, because this set the precedent for new trucks, newer style trucks as we know it. So this was the first truck to break the square body mold. You had the 88, like I have a 95 Chevy, was part of that GMT 400 truck that came out in 88. But, yes, it was the first step towards more modern trucks, but it was still old school drivetrain, and it kind of was still a square body. I mean, it's pretty damn square. This truck really broke the mold, this Ram being round, and Ford and GM followed very, very closely about 2 or 3 years after with heavily updated trucks. That being that this grew so much in popularity in 94 when it launched, I think doubling or tripling their sales from the previous couple years. So this truck was iconic, the 2nd gen Rams. I see these everywhere nowadays. Let's look at some more variety of these. As you can see, these come in many shapes and sizes. Again, lots of different configurations. These still had the 90s two-tone on some of the factory trucks. And they were just very, very cool. They had those iconic rims or wheels, and you know, that big rig front grille, they called it. And these trucks look great stock. They look great modified. I mean, some of the 90s Rams, like a diesel per se, that's in great shape, no rust, a sleek color, and some nice custom wheels and tires. It still, to non-truck people, I bet, still looks like a modern truck, like newer than it is. These things are just excellent, and they were tough. These were very tough. You still see them. They were just every angle. These things look great. And these, of course, these had a lot of different engines as well. They were all fuel injected by then. And they had the 3.9 V6, and then they had the 318 and the 360 as well. But by then, these engines were getting older, but with that came simplicity and reliability. These things have been around, they've been proven, and they were good engines. This generation also introduced the V10, an 8-liter V10 to be exact, and not the exact Viper engine. A lot of people seem to say that. They're related, but they're not exact. They're definitely different. It is great though. Like I said, it's iconic. It was a big hit in the 90s, and they're still popular today. Lots of different versions. This Cummins truck was arguably the best out of the Rams, if you ask some people, and they were just excellent trucks. All right, so moving on to the third generation. This, to me personally, this is a very, very cool Ram. These are everywhere still. You would not know that these are up to 16 years old. These are just absolutely everywhere. And you know, speaking out of anecdotal, speaking out of my own experience, I have a lot of family and friends that have had these trucks at one time or another, these third gens, and they've been very reliable. Just damn tough for the people I know that have owned these. Of course, there'll be other people that said they're complete junk, just like everything on the internet. There's always radically extreme differences in opinions, but trust me when I say I would trust buying one of these. I really love the third gen Rams, and these diesels before 2007 were amazing. You know, before all the crazy emissions and updates they did to diesels that are, you know, looked down upon the diesel community. So had kind of two versions. It had the 02 to the 05, which looks like this. As you can see, it had like the round grille. I don't know why this isn't loading, but it had the round grille, and then it had that kind of these bubble headlights where it made an indent into the bumper, and very smooth otherwise. And it also had flat taillights back here. And the facelifted one had more of a different shape in the grille. It wasn't a complete circle. It was more prominent, and it had these more fixed headlights with the kind of aggressive looking eyes in there, and it was smooth. There wasn't that bubble look. But ironically, the bubble look transferred to the back where you can see them sticking out. It had bubble shaped taillights in the rear. So I prefer these. I do like the first version of the third gens, but these facelifted 2006 to 2008 third gens are just absolutely stunning. These are just incredible trucks. These are probably the most customized of all time. There's like millions of these trucks, it seems like, and the diesel trucks in these is extremely popular to this day all over. There's like a two-door one. There's, you know, and then there was Mega Cab came out in this generation. There is just so many, so much following for this truck. They look good stock. They look good modified. To me, that is just a gorgeous, gorgeous truck. They're incredible. They're still macho. They look like a proper truck, but they're so classy and sporty looking. They're excellent, and by far dominated in this era, in my opinion. For the looks wise, they just dominated. These were amazing. This generation also brought back the Power Wagon for 2005. till the end of this gen, so that was pretty awesome as well, and was in a league of its own for off-roading. That is for damn sure. And quick run over this generation did have the 3.7 V6, the 4.7 V8, and the 5.7 V8. Of course, the 5.9 diesel, and then of course the 6.7 diesel later on. I believe 06, 07. And but yeah, you could get the older engines for about a year, and then starting in 03, then came the new 7s, the 3.7, 4.7, 5.7. The Hemi, of course, is a very, very good engine, still used to this day. Been in millions of trucks over the years, and it's just a great motor. Sounds great, tows great, performs great, and they're just an excellent motor. They're relatively cheap to maintain. They're pretty damn reliable. This truck also had the SRT10. That's worth noting. The SRT10 was excellent and was only in the 3rd gen Ram. Okay, so moving on to the 4th gen Ram, very iconic nowadays. This came out in 2009, 2010 for the HDs, and this truck is everywhere. You see them everywhere. These have sold very well. I personally owned and started my YouTube channel with a 4th gen Ram, being a 2015 Ram Power Wagon 2500. And these trucks are, again, pretty excellent. I have heard from multiple people to stay away from the earlier, like 2009, 2010, 2011, Ram 1500s with 5.7. So if you stick with like a 2013 or newer, these trucks are very solid. They're very reliable. They're fast as heck. They're very powerful. And the interiors are really, really nice on these compared to the older trucks. And, of course you have, the older drivetrain, yeah, maybe for a year or two. But then, of course, you have like the newer Gen 2 and Gen 3 Hemis. You have the 6.4 Hemi that came out in this truck in 2014. Excellent motor. I owned that. And, of course, the 6.7 Cummins Turbo Diesel, the newer versions of that. And then these transmissions were decent as well. They were great in the 3rd gens. I don't know if I mentioned that. In the 4th gens, they're pretty good for the most part. Especially, this is the last truck that you could get a manual in, because GM and Ford by like the mid 2010s, you couldn't get that at all, and you could in the Ram, so props to Ram for that. But I'm not biased. I'm going to spoil my outro here. The 4th gen is not my number one. It's not my favorite. It looks great. I think they're a really strong looking truck. You see them everywhere. They're clearly popular. But they come in a lot of different flavors. You have like this real Texas kind of upscale look here. The grays and the different flavors they got. But the Power Wagon of this gen was awesome. I owned it. I do miss that truck, but I'm glad I don't have it anymore for other reasons. Those who know my channel have seen enough of this truck, I'm sure. You had this Power Wagon, which I had right here. Pretty crazy truck, controversial for sure. I loved it. A lot of people don't. Either love it or hate it. Then they had the updated Power Wagon. Of course, that's a 5th gen. That's not what we want. There's a 4th gen right there. Then this truck also introduced the Rebel. A lot of iconic trucks came from the 4th gen. They were around for a long time, but they were good trucks. Technically, you can still get a 4th gen Ram in 2020. It's called the Classic model, and it is clearly a 4th gen still. All right, and then moving on to the final 5th gen, which is very, very present, still in production now, obviously, as they just came out in 2019. And it doesn't even have a 5th gen thing on here. That's Wikipedia for you. But 5th gens pretty much fall in line, drive line wise, with the 4th gens, other than the fact that there is a hybrid now, and they have upgrades to the frame and interior and yada yada. But 5th gens, I'll just pull up on here. But yeah, as you can see, 5th gens are pretty cool. Modern trucks are just getting pretty radical in design. I know times change and the designs have to change too. I'm still not quite used to these new trucks. I have driven a 5th gen Ram, not on video unfortunately, but I drove a 2020 Ram. They are incredibly, like, almost too fast, too powerful, but it's amazing. I mean, it's cool, don't get me wrong. They're just bonkers powerful. They shift really fast. The interiors are unbelievably nice, and the styling is quite bold. I still think out of the new trucks that all look pretty weird, these look the best. I don't prefer them over older Rams, so another spoiler warning, but they are what they are. They're pretty interesting, and they look pretty cool if you do modify them. I have seen a few on the road modified. They look all right, but yeah, they're decent. They're interesting. Coming into the closing here, that is all of the generations of Ram. I'm going to rank them for you guys, and then you can let me know down below what you guys think, how you would rank them, and where I'm right or wrong. And then the video's over. So coming in at 5th place, I'm going to put the 5th gen Ram, the newer Rams. Coming in at 4th place, I'm going to put the 4th gen Rams. And in 3rd place, I'm going to put the 2nd gen Ram. I think those trucks are awesome. I want a diesel from that gen someday. And in 2nd place, this was tough. In 2nd place, I'm going to put the 3rd gen Ram. I love these. These are my favorite of the truly modern trucks. They're beautiful, and I would love to own one someday. And finally, in 1st place, you guessed it, the square bodies. Come on, guys. Square bodies are the best. They are tough. They're rugged. They're amazing. They're beautiful. They had the hood emblem. They had the color schemes. They were awesome. And I did grow up being a little guy, like 2-3 feet tall. I was growing up with square body Dodges. Always had to climb up in them, and I loved them. So that's it for my rankings of all the modern Dodge Rams. Tell me what you think, and make sure to like this video, hit that red subscribe button, and ring that bell. And like always, guys, catch you later.